Time for the final of my qualifier. For those of you guys who missed it, I did a very, very long qualifier domination tournament stream on Saturday. And competitors there, the top two qualified to go on to the grand final, which we're going to be hosting on Saturday. I'll be hosting that with Turin. Definitely very excited for that. But in order to determine the seeding, we did need to play the final match between Alric Rahl and Berserk, two very seasoned and skilled players. So let's take a look here. Alric coming in with Slaanesh. He's got some horsemen with the Riders of the Mighty Serpent. He's got that Exalted Keeper of Secrets, Lord, some Forsaken, and some Devoted Marauders, including the Princess of Perfection, and a couple of Hellstriders already coming in there as well. A couple of Gnoblar Trappers, three of them through the center, Gnoblars and Pigback Riders with a Yeti mixed in there, plus some Ogre Bulls. And it looks like a Paymaster, nice, one of my favorite lords in the game. And Bragg the Gutsman for some anti-large as well. Caster, not sure yet, but Slaanesh versus Ogres. It's quite an interesting one. In land battles, Conquest, Ogres are one of the tougher matchups for Slaanesh. In Domination, Slaanesh is one of the best factions in the game, but I would imagine still has some issues just due to their general lack of anti-large. Dealing with what the Ogres can bring. They've got quite a few scary tools, but right now just bringing an absolute horde in, along with a few key large units. But one anti-large unit is the Riders of the Mighty Serpent, of course, with their slight anti-large bonus on their javelins. Keeper of Secrets also has nice anti-large bonus with their big old glaive. We're gonna think about engaging and then decide not to as the forces of Slaanesh pull back a little bit. Both players kind of patiently gathering up some forces on this domination game. Quite an interesting map here. Points sort of spread all around. Yeah, right now, Slaanesh has pretty good objective control. 2 out of 3. Ogres only having this one here near the ruin on the near side. But let's see, we're going to start to get some engagements going. Princess of Perfection, take a nice little charge there. Yeah, I always forget their ROR trait. Just that, what do they have? Perfect Vigor and Expert Charge Defense will help somewhat. That So Perfect Musk will also help somewhat as well. But right now, they are getting quite overwhelmed, I should say, as the Ogres and the Gnoblars go together. We've got a little bit of paying happening here. Cash Cascade juicing up those bulls, although Forsaken are trading very well into them. But some Blood Vultures also coming in, and here are the Pleasure Seekers. Potentially very, very impactful unit, but very expensive. And the Gnoblars immediately feeling some pain as they are savagely charged, but relatively cheap unit, so it's fine for right now. Ooh, we got some Lore of Fire coming in for the Ogres. There's a Fire Bro. I forget what they're actually called. Fire Belly, that's it. Yep, Fire Belly coming in. He's got some Burning Head and some Flame Storm. Nice, very cool choices. Big AoE but boom spells are going to be quite decent, but the Paymaster overextends himself a little bit here, trying to get after the Exalted Keeper of Secrets. We're going to see an Acquiescence from Alric as he tries to capitalize on that. Meanwhile, the Horsemen of Slaanesh kind of screening here quite nicely. Got the Hellstriders moving in to support the Pleasure Seekers, but the Yetis, this is exactly what they're here for, is to basically fight Pleasure Seekers, right? I mean, as long as they can get a decent engagement, they've got the magical attacks and, you know, just Frostbite. They can help keep them locked in. Nice Flamestorm cast just directly on the Pleasure Seekers and the Hellstriders. Does some pretty massive damage there. Yeah, the Yetis helping to lock them in. Fire and Ice combo, quite brutal, and the Pleasure Seekers look like they're pretty much done already, as some Hellstriders going to chase some routing units. Forsaken also helping to clean up these dual weapon bulls, Devoted Marauders as well. We're tangling with those Yetis momentarily, but yeah, looking quite interesting so far. Both players scrapping hard. Firebelly, I believe, has magic attacks in melee as well. Yep, magic and fire damage, so he can help jump in and support against any expensive demonic units. And right now, Alric having a hard time amassing enough numbers on the field to kind of get some meaningful map control, but he does have now some Forsaken, these devoted Marauders also returning to the fight. So trying to get some more fast infantry in here, get some bodies on the points, help contest. Maybe try and win here. Right now, Alric's actually a tiny bit ahead on value, of course. May not 100% be tracking correctly, but Firebelly also continuing to rip some big old burning heads. Him and the Yetis just having a grand old time. Chasing these Princess Perfection down. Forsaken have gotten loose here, and the Noblar Trappers. Pickback's going to countercharge them a little bit. Won't do too much, but the Forsaken kind of end up getting sort of surrounded here, weirdly, as the Noblars and the Pickbacks sort of filter through with their smaller unit models. But Forsaken should be able to blend through, no problem. They'll take some damage in the process, but the Keeper's Secret's also continuing to kind of kite away here a little bit. Trappers causing some problems. No Slingers here today. Slaanesh is a little bit too fast, and the Trappers have a little bit more melee stats and just higher DPS at short range, so you might as well take the Trappers. But the Saber-Tusk's also moving in. The Ogres with some pretty dominating map control right now. We see a wild spawn summon be brought in from Alric. He's pretty low on supply right now, and he's starting to fall behind a little bit on value, but especially on units. You know, the map control of Slaanesh is struggling right now against the girth of the Ogres, which is typical to how this matchup goes in land battles. But let's see. Wily Slaanesh perhaps can bring something back here. The spawns moving in with the Hellstriders together, trying to shut down like the Saber-Tusks. The Terror kicks in pretty quickly for a lot of these lower leadership units as the Keeper's Secrets makes its presence felt. Also is going to pop that Seductive Glory for Rampage and melee defense. Debuff, yeah. Able to route a few more units there, so... Ooh, the Firebelly responds though. Nice Burning Head. Hitting those Hellstriders and trying to shut down that flanking attack, but Alric was able to actually come in and kind of leadership bomb a pretty good portion there. And yeah, right now, Ogres still in control of 2 objectives, but this is where Slaanesh can start to shine when things get very spread out. And ooh, Paymaster actually got killed there, but gets summoned back to do another cash cascade on this engagement as the remaining Ogres units try and hold out. Yeah, Saber-Tusk pack there. Back in the fight. Spawn continuing to fight, but Bragg also with his anti-large making his presence felt once more. But yeah, right now Slaanesh able to somewhat win this fight. Maybe these Hellstriders can get in, do a little rear charge, but even still it looks like the one Hellstrider able to win against those very tattered units. And as a result, Slaanesh might be looking to get the far side objective control, but right now Ogre is still holding firm in the center. Hellstrider is one of few effective anti-large units. Problem with them is they're relatively low HP, and light armor and melee defense means they do get kind of just smashed by high weapon strength stuff, which includes a lot of things that the Ogres can bring. But right now, they do manage to get a rout on the Firebelly. That's pretty good. Maybe take out the AoE damage for the Ogres, start to amass some more numbers of stuff. Get the Rise of the Mighty Serpent coming in once more. Keeper of Secrets kind of just hanging around here on the periphery, using that missile block chance a little bit, but can actually heal from the Feasting with Fear, so Alric's smart to just kind of keep the Keeper's Secrets around these tattered outside, you know, edge units, especially like the Shattered unit of Pigback Riders I hear can't be unsummoned, so he can kind of just farm some HP from being near them. And then over here, yeah, it looks like Slaanesh is able to actually get the cap on this objective with that light cavalry. Ogre's starting to run a little bit thin through the center. Paymaster and Bragg holding out right now, but more reinforcements being summoned in as the Trappers and the Pigback Riders. One unit of Bulls as well gets on the field. Going to try and reinforce that center objective. But Slaanesh in a position to maybe mount a comeback here. They are slightly ahead on damage value. Got some good supply. They're getting some decent map control as well, evening things out significantly with the Ogres. Berserk going to move in this little functional force here over onto objective number 1. The Firebelly also comes back from route. So some more magic available to him. Yeah, so kind of splits his forces a little bit. Can somewhat control both these objectives at the same time, given their close proximity. But yeah, the one Pigback Rider just sort of holding here with their anti-large bonus. They're not too scared about the Hellstriders. The other units move to support the Paymaster. These Trappers are going to be quite dangerous to the Exalted Keeper of Secrets. So he's got to maintain his distance. Another Bull dual weapon also being brought in here, as are more Hellstriders, and another Forsaken. So late game engagement, I say late game, sort of mid to late game engagement, third quarter it might even be. We're going to see maybe another Phantasmagoria here, though, to lock these units down. Yep. Make sure they can't escape or move. Slaanesh can pick their charges here very effectively. Going after the Trappers, actually, but we see a Cash Cascade in response. The Blood Vultures once again being brought in as well. Yeah, the Bull's dual weapons and a massive Flamestorm just hammering these Forsaken here. Get some of those Hellstriders as well. Yeah, you can see the HP just dropping rapidly. Might have even roasted a bunch of his own Noblars, but hey, I mean, they were pretty much dead anyway from the double charge. Riders of the Mighty Serpent also get tangled up in melee here against those Trappers. Not going to go particularly well for them. But yeah, they're getting ransacked by those throwing daggers. Actually straight routed off. So Ogres with an excellent defense. Keeper of Secrets faces demonic instability. Bragg and the Paymaster forcing the Keeper of Secrets away. Looks like it recovers its leadership with about 800 HP left. But will it have any more opportunity for feasting with fear, as the Ogres pretty decisively won that center engagement? And, you know, even still, value tracking is the thing right now. Might be completely broken, but, yeah, the Ogre is actually, like, not getting any gold damage value there yet. So, clearly, not working correctly at this particular moment. We do get some Pleasure Seekers moving in, but the Ogres have great control here in the center. They didn't actually retake that far side objective, though. It looks like it might be close. Well, it's definitely close, but yeah, Slaanesh still maintaining the objective capture for the time being. Let's see. Right now, Alric still has to hold out for quite some time on one objective. Yeah, he actually needs two objectives, so right now he has it, but let's see if Berserk notices. Maybe maneuver some units over to try and finish this, or is just going to continue holding the center for now. I mean, he does have some time. No need to rush this and expose units to the Pleasure Seeker charges unnecessarily. But Blood Vultures, ooh, they're lurking. They're lurking. They're looking to just try and pop the Keeper Secrets on leadership. Get a little rear attack on him, and it won't take too much to force him into demonic instability. Got some Trappers and Saber-Tusk Pack. Nice little supported group here. Dagger's gonna volley in. And gets a pretty good contact on the Hellstriders there. Forsaken also moving in. But at this point, the Keeper of Secrets trying to move up to maybe support the Pleasure Seekers. They get a crushing charge against that Saber-Tusk Pack, but then the counter charge from everything else. Under the effects of the Cash Cascade, it's going to be a super cost-effective engagement for these Bulls as they get that extra charge bonus. Against a low armor unit, able to get some great value. Keeper of Secrets moving in to try and help, but a couple of dagger volleys smacks Bragg to the ground. He will rise once more, and I believe most likely finish off the Keeper of Secrets here. Maybe it's actually the daggers. Yep, it was the daggers. The lowly Trappers felling the great Keeper of Secrets, and that will be victory. Alric gonna throw in the towel there and hand Game 1 victory to Berserk. Of course, it's best of 3 series. And yeah, it ended up being pretty close there. Alric had a nice attempt at a comeback, had some positional control, but Berserk with the great reinforcement summon, a great kind of small engagement there to win in the third quarter. Really sealed the deal. Love the pick of the Yetis here. Trappers, of course, when protected well, are going to be quite devastating against a low armor faction. And love the pick of the Fire Belly as well. Lower Fire, incredibly good and maybe underrated a little bit, especially in land battles for Ogres. Like, you tend to mostly see Lore of the Great Maw, sometimes Lore of Heavens, but Fire is a really nice option to have, especially when you have the Cash Cascade of the Paymaster. Relatively cheap himself, and probably got some okay value, especially when you consider the support value as well. But yeah, from Alric Raw's perspective, Keeper of Secrets, a nice pick, but definitely very squishy. Ends up paying for it there in the end. Yeah, the Hellstrider is one of your few effective anti-large units, being resummoned multiple times, pretty decent, but ultimately not enough presence to hold here. Pleasure Seekers also. Yeah, I mean, it's an engagement that you can take them, but I might have taken a little bit more heroes, maybe, for Slaanesh. Like, take Steercar, even with a relatively minimal kit on the Steed. With his speed debuff, really, really strong character overall in terms of his stats, and you can really control enemies' movements, especially against a lower leadership faction like the Ogres. Yeah, maybe another like Exalted Hero or something, just to have a little bit of heroic presence that's not going to get crushed so easily by the Ogre mass. They themselves have pretty good mass on the snakes and can kind of help fight whatever units you need them to very quickly, reposition and charge on different units. Like even here, I don't know, maybe even just swapping out the Pleasure Seekers for some heroes on the Demonic Steeds might be better, but Forsaken and the Hellstriders, very effective here, potentially, and maybe more Spawn, actually, as well. The Spawn seem to do quite well there. But, yeah, rather than keep you guys in suspense, I'll just go ahead and tell you. In Game 2, Berserk's Demons of Chaos decisively defeated Alric Raw's Norska in the opening phase of the battle, leading to him throwing in the towel relatively early, and Berserk takes the series with a 2-0 sweep. There you go. So Berserk will take the top seeding position in the bracket of the grand final, along with qualifiers from Anticity and Turin's qualifiers. So be sure to tune in tomorrow to check that out. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.